It's championship conclusion time here in Okayama for the final 2 weekends, 2 races of the Japan Cup. Race 1, Saturday afternoon here at the Okayama International Circuit, and we are ready to hand over the first Japan Cup trophy of an individual race season. It's the first year the Japan Cup has had standalone races. Of course, it used to exist alongside the GT World Challenge Asia in certain rounds, but now with the expanding grids, we are using their own races, and we again had a record grid set of 17 cars for this weekend. Unfortunately, we did lose one before we went qualifying yesterday, so 16 cars will take the start, and some really exciting names to follow as well. My name is Ben Constanduris. We've got Amy down on the grid to speak to some of our drivers pre this race. And of course, we've got race 2, the last race of the championship, tomorrow afternoon, but we are likely to crown a champion today. The reason? Because we have already lost the Lexus from K-Tunes. But before then, let's get up to speed.
Okayama stages the final SRO GT Power Tour event this weekend, when 48 GT cars gather for the Japan Cup title showdown and penultimate round of Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia powered by AWS.
かつてパシフィックグランプリが行われたこのサーキットで2024年はどのようなドラマが待ち受けているのでしょうか。今週末の岡山大会では昨年同様ジャパンカップのシリーズチャンピオンが決定します。チャンピオン最有力候補は98号車の K-Tunes レーシングです。ランキング2位につけているチームメイトの96号車とは36ポイント差をつけているため、レース1終了時点で25ポイント以上リードを維持できればチャンピオン確定となります。55号車も総合タイトル獲得の可能性をわずかに残していますが、メインのターゲットとなるのはアムクラスのクラスチャンピオン獲得です。現在2位とは17ポイント差がついています。一方の GT4 は激しい混戦です。ランキングトップ3の差はわずか7ポイントとなっており、合計4チームがタイトル獲得の可能性を残しています。38号車がランキング首位につけており、同じくトヨタ勢の39号車が続く2位、そのすぐ後ろには50号車 BMW がつけています。注目ポイントはそれだけではありません。シーズン最多の17台がエントリーした今大会は前澤友作選手のジャパンカップデビュー戦にもなります。共に参戦する横溝直樹選手は昨シーズンの岡山大会で優勝を果たしました。また666号車 7×7 WithKFM もジャパンカップ初参戦。ポルシェが GT3 クラスに加わることでシボレー、フェラーリ、レクサス、マクラーレン、日産と合わせて6メーカーの参戦となりました。
Fanatec GT Asia champions can also be crowned on Sunday, but only if results go the way of our current points leaders. Realistically, titles will be decided in Shanghai next month. The overall GT3 championship is wide open, with just 1 point separating Liu Wei from Anthony Liu and Alessio Picarillo, while Bobby Wan and Liu Yi Hongli are also firmly in contention with 4 races left to run. 2 decent results would also move Frankie Cheng and Adley Fong back into the overall mix and put pressure on Silver Cup leaders Isham Pieris and Tanart Sathian Dirikul. Just 3 points separate the Porsche and Audi crews. Further back, the AM battle will primarily feature David Tieptan-Biantoro's Garage 75 Ferrari and AMAX Porsche, shared by Andrew McPherson and Ben Porter. They're separated by 20 points, with as many as 100 available over the final 4 races.
In Silver Am, Yuan and Yi enjoy a 22-point advantage over Hirabon and Yu Kanemaru, but must, like all other championship leaders, increase that to 50 if they're to wrap up the class title before Shanghai.
As usual, qualifying and all 4 races, that's 2 each for Fanatec GT Asia and Japan Cup, are live on SRO's GT World YouTube channel.
日本語の実況解説は J スポーツで放送されます。
And so you're up to speed with where we stand pre the weekend, but we have had a few changes since then, with As I said, the 96k tunes Lexus not running today. Temperature on the track and in the air, similar to what we had earlier on for the GT World Challenge races. And yeah, pretty good actually. Not too humid and not too hot. Quite hot for the tyres. Pirelli struggling with those. Here are the championship standings as we come in to this race, with K-Tune's 98 Ferrari leading the championship after 3 wins. The Lexus with a single win in second was really the only title challenger to them, although mathematically Tadao Uematsu is able to win the championship he can keep it alive if he wins and the 98 car does not finish. But should be quite simple for car 98. They were faster in qualifying, by the way, than GT World Challenge, so it's going to be a frenetic race. Let's go down to the grid.
So this is the final weekend of the Japan Cup. A champion will be crowned either today or tomorrow. And we have the contestant here. 高木選手、チャンピオンにこのレースで輝く可能性がとても高いです。はい、山脇選手、緊張されてますか？
してました。むっちゃ緊張してました。まあでもね、グリッドが 5番手ということで、ちょうど中盤なので何が起きるかわからない場所でもあるとは思うので、とにかく気をつけて走ってもらいたいなと思います。
条件としては、55号車が勝たなければ、チャンピオンになるということなんですけれども、どんな走り高木選手は見せたいですか？
でも今置かれているものでね、その順位をしっかり走ってミスなく走った結果がね、このレースでチャンピオン取れるか次なのかとかっていうのになってくると思うので、自分を気負わないようにしっかりレースしたいと思います。
頑張ってください。
はい、頑張ります。
So I asked him about his partner sitting in the car starting from P5. He is apparently very nervous because he might be crowned champion this race. And also the fact that if the 55 car doesn't win, it's more likely that they will be crowned champion. Takagi said he will not think too much about it. Just drive safe and bring the car back safe, and then we'll see after the race what happens. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Amy. Indeed, it is very much in the hands of that 98 crew, although Yamawaki does start in the middle of the pack. We've also got a very fraught battle in the championship in the GT4 category. 4 different cars can win the championship still after tomorrow. And it's not just 4 cars, but it's 6 different drivers, because Yuki Fuji and Masaki Kano and the 2 Sunrise Boulevard drivers have stuck together through the full year. It's Sierra and Munopo whose teammates missed a round, and therefore they are on their own at the top of the standings. That's for GT4, but Amy's at the head of the field with 555.
Here with the partner of Maezawa Yusaku, who's gonna drive the debut race this time. 横溝選手、前澤選手デビューということで GT3 すごい目まぐるしくスピーディーなデビューだと思いますけれども、その辺いかがでしょう？緊張されてますか？
多分僕の方が緊張してるかもしれないですね。はい、これまでずっとコーチさせていただいていて、で今年初めてねレースデビューフェラーリチャレンジさせてもらって。で3戦経過して、そしてここでもうね自身4度目のレースが GT3 のレースということで、非常に素晴らしいシリーズですし、ここで、ね、走ることのやりがいも、私も前澤さんも感じてますし、まずは第1レースいいレースをして明日につなげたいですね。
そして横溝選手自身は昨年ですね、ここ GT ワールドチャレンジアジアの方で表彰台真ん中取ってます、勝ってます。またこのレースで表彰台狙いますかね？
もちろんそこは狙っていきますよ。で2022年もヨギボーレーシングで優勝してるし、2連覇してるんで、できれば今週末3連覇目指して頑張りたいと思います。
3連覇目指して頑張ってください。応援してます。
頑張ります。
So first of all, I asked whether Maezawa is nervous, and then he said, I think I'm more nervous than him because he has been coaching him the whole time. He has been with him on the journey, so he really wishes him luck. And also, it is a very speedy debut. It's his 4th time and already on a GT3 car on this track. So yes, he's very nervous about what he will show today. They're looking forward to a podium, which is great, but overall, the ambience seems very festive. Back to you.
Yusaku Maezawa making a step up into the Japan Cup. We saw him facing the wrong direction a couple of times in qualifying, but he did have good pace when he got a lap through. Now, racing conditions so very, very different. Another guest car this weekend, 7-7 with KFM, Banksy and Kyoto Fujinami, with clear track ahead of them, meaning they are on the front of the grid. And they have that pole position thanks to Banksy's lap, faster than the McLaren of Team Machina, Tadeo Umatsu, the only man that can stop the championship being wrapped up today. But it's not really his priority because he's on his own. So he is an AM driver, therefore he's in the AM Cup, and he is competing against a Pro-Am car. Now, in this first part of the race, you wouldn't see too much of a difference, but once you get the Pro drivers into that car, Shinichi Takagi, who we just saw, Shinichi was faster than every single GT World Challenge Asia qualifying driver. Can you believe that? And so it would be hard to fight for an AM driver. Let's go back down to Amy on the grid again.
So here with Fujinami, partner of the pole sitter, Banksy, who's going to start the race. 初のね、この、ジャパンカップのポールスタートとなって、今ご自身でも緊張するなとボソッとおっしゃってましたけれども、今の心境いかがですか？
そうですね、バンクシー選手も初参戦ながらに、ね、とんでもないタイムで、ね、予選、通過してきて、チームとしても本当にもう本当6月ぐらいかな、急遽やることが決まって車も手に入って、そこから急ピッチで準備して、チームとしても初の、ね、GT3 のレースなんで、本当に何事もなくとりあえず終われることを願って、一つ一つやっていけば、バンクシーさんも早いですし、僕もなんとか、ね、アジア経験あるんで、なんとかカバーして、終わって笑えるように頑張っていきたいと思ってます。はい、応援してます。ポールトゥウィン期待してますんで頑張ってください。ありがとうございます。頑張ります。
So yes, Banksy seemed a little bit nervous, but it's also an amazing achievement that he got pole position. It's his first time in the Japan Cup, so he's very much looking forward to a great race. But very, very nervous. Also, Fujinami wanted to do a great job. He has a little bit of experience in the Japan Cup already, so he's quite sure that he can do his best when it gets to his stint. They knew about this race in June, so they only had like 2 months to prepare for it. Everything was so speedy, so yeah, he was saying that we will see how it ends. Back to you.
Grid is clear then. Just waiting for the last signal, and then those with the fans blowing cold-ish air into the cockpits will be forced to leave the drivers to themselves. But at 32 degrees air temperature, those cockpits will be like 40 degrees at least. And with our AM drivers starting, they will want to be as cool and calm and collected as possible and try and get that heart rate down. As a Comet Racing Ferrari, part of the AM lineup. Most of our grid is AMs, 7 in total, which is a good number. And then you also have the Pro-Am category, and then we have Silver Ams in GT4. We'll be trying to keep across the championship battle there with those 4 different cars. Maezawa, the spaceman. We've seen this car before, we've seen his team before in GT World Challenge. It's part of the Japan Cup. But this is the first time we've seen him actually partake in a race. Sits on row 3 in the end. Naoki Yokomizo, who we just spoke to, taking victory this time last year here in Okayama. And now the safety car heads away. Green flag flies, and the formation lap begins. 50 degrees track temperature, 32 degrees air temperature There was concern for a little bit of rain, but those clouds that came over, they've disappeared now. And it is a beautiful afternoon here in Okayama, the nearby town of Aida. The circuit used to be named after. Okayama, the largest city that sits almost about an hour away from the circuit, but it's the province also of Okayama that we race in. And actually look at, just so beautiful. The whole area is so beautiful as you drive into the mountains here. Very green, very healthy. And this circuit sort of tucked away in the hills has a little bit, as you can see, some gradient. Far left corner is the bottom of that turn 4, and there's the top of it. Here's the grid. Banksy is on the pole alongside Tadeo Umatsuya. He doesn't have a penalty for being a single driver on this event. He does have to get out of the car though. Mutoki in 3rd, and then Comet Racing's Ferrari in 4th position. Yamakawa in the 98 Ferrari that should easily win the championship if he can keep it on the island, and Maezawa alongside him. Nishikawa in the run-up Nissan alongside the Daishan GT Net Nissan of Ayagi. And then the 2 GTC cars, Satoshi Kono and Makoto Haga, 2 old generation Porsches. Then we look at the GT4 category. Manopo in the Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia Toyota GT4. Yuki Fuji in the BMW. Then we've got Tatsuya Hoshino up there in 3rd position. Ochai in the 38 that is part of the championship fight, but it's not him that's part of the championship fight. And Makano in the Sunrise Boulevard Porsche, who is also part of that championship fight. The last of our cars on the grid is the 97 K-Tunes Toyota GR Supra. And just a reminder that we do not have the 96 K-Tunes. Lexus, an engine problem yesterday in practice, has forced them to withdraw, and that has basically left the door open for the 98 to take the championship crown. They were really the only competitor, but they already had a hand on it because they'd already taken 3 victories over the one of the 96 K-Tunes Lexus. The only other 2 wins were taken by this car, actually, the Corvette Bingo Racing C7, when it was a Pro-Am car, the first round of the Japan Cup. But then they switched to AM by changing the drivers, and obviously therefore have not had the ability to fight at the very front. But we have a few other Pro-Ams that can. We heard from Fujinami, spoke well about Banksy, who's on that pole position. Don't expect great things from Maezawa. He just needs to pace himself, get through the stint, hand the car over to his pro driver in one piece, and then surely a result will come. A reminder that we have GT3 cars and GT4 cars, 2 GTC cars in there as well. 16 cars in total, it was 17 on the entry list, and we're about to go racing for the final weekend of the Japan Cup. Round 7 of this year's championship, the first to be a standalone, and what a sight. Uematsu in the McLaren, Banksy in the yellow Porsche, very pacing, very slow, keeping the field bunched up. Now he goes, and that's a really good start. That's a huge jump over Uematsu, and he drags Bingo Racing Corvette with him of Motoku, who looks down the inside. Motoki can't find a way through, but that was really well managed by Banksy, and he's got a jump over Uematsu as well. GT4 cars filter through the first turn, all safely through there. And now, how quickly can these guys get up to speed? How much do they trust their cars in these first couple of big braking zones, that they've got everything they want where they want it? Slightly wide from the Comet Racing Ferrari there. That's going to make him vulnerable to attack for 4th position. Who is behind him? It is the 98, isn't it? So that's Yamawaki. But Banksy sits in the middle of the road, tries to stop that Corvette from going around the outside. The Corvette loses the rear, nearly loses a position as well to the McLaren. Holds on for the moment though. Banksy, Motoki, Uematsu, Tsujiko, Yamakawa, Maezawa and Nishikawa. Oyagi in 8th position. A little bit of a wiggle again from that Comet Racing Ferrari. The 296. Now over the line for the first time. That's a good gap between Motoki and Uematsu. 2.1 seconds after one lap. And again, that Corvette, that Comet Racing Ferrari moving around in the braking zones. Tsujiko definitely impatient to try and get through, but does he have the car underneath him at this stage? The body language of the car suggests not. Uematsu knows he needs to pace himself. No teammate to hand the car over to at half-time. He is staying in there and needs to do the full stint. That's going to be tough today on a physical circuit. Very technical, like this Okayama circuit is. And with the heat that we have today, pacing himself will be really important. Bingo Racing Corvette there, just trying to break away from Motoki. Just sounds so good, doesn't it? Love the engine noise of the Corvette. And I love how, especially in the Japan Cup, we've had a real good variety of car. Porsche leads Corvette, McLaren, and then Ferrari. We've got a new Ferrari and the older 488 Ferrari, and then the Nissan, and usually we have the Lexus as well. No Mercedes, no R8 Audi, no BMW in GT3, so, but different cars, different types of car that you perhaps wouldn't see. The Lexus, for instance, quite a rare GT3 car. And then even in GT4, you've got Toyota, BMW, Porsche and Aston Martin. We've only got 6 GT4 cars. Banksy again on the defensive into turn 5. No way through there. But the pace is good. They're able to create a small gap to Uematsu, who is still kind of, maybe unfair to say, holding up Tsujiko. That's a nice run from Motoki out of that slow hairpin. Got good traction. Didn't have too much movement in the car. Now, what is the straight line speed of these two in comparison to each other? Something the SRO work very hard on. Trying to make sure they're as balanced as possible around a whole lap. So you might find that a car is good in certain places, but not as good in others. As the lap comparison the last couple of laps, but to be fair, they've kind of just been locked together, haven't they? Lose a little bit of time one lap and then gain it back the next because you've got the space to do so. Motoki can't really go much faster than he's going unless he actually gets past Banksy. Banksy's feeling the pressure though. sitting in the middle of the road here. Really very defensive. Very clear with his intentions. You are not coming past. It's hard to get down the inside here. We have seen a move work there, jamming it down the inside of the left-hander, the revolver. But we also saw contact in race 1 of the GT World Challenge Asia, which put the 500 Hirobon Nissan into the gravel there. Still a strong four-way battle going on in our GT4 category, and it involves all, it actually, I was about to say it involves all of our championship contenders, but it doesn't. The Porsche dropping off the tail of that battle, the 82, Makino is 6 seconds off the back of Hoshino. Hoshino's not part of it either. Here's the battle for GT3 AM. Motoki leads that, but Uematsu second. And just a reminder, we've got AMs across the whole field right now. Here's a replay of the start. Really good start from Banksy. You just got the throttle down nice and early and made the jump on Uematsu, so much so that the Corvette just followed, and Uematsu must have just been unlucky with the moment in which he came off the throttle and the others did. Bang, off they go. Almost as though Uematsu was in the wrong gear. Didn't have the drive. Well, that happily handed Motoki the lead of the race. He's dropped a little bit back on this last lap, but that will allow him to claw back the gap the lap later. And the problem is he's been sitting there the whole race, right? So Banksy knows that there's a Corvette behind him, and he's now starting to get comfortable with that situation. He's not being surprised by it because he knows it's there. Throbs underneath the commentary box down the start finishing straight here. That Corvette, just awesome. Good battle then. Uematsu, Shizuko and Yamawaki. They're the two Nissans together. But after there's two Porsches, so we've got two Nissans at the tail of the GT3 field, then you've got the two Porsches, and then you have the GT4 cars. And they're having a good little tussle. Top three there, as we ride on board with our leader. Nice and smooth with the inputs. Not trying to wring the neck of the car at the moment. Just feeding the throttle in, feeding the steering in. It looks good, doesn't it? And it looks relaxed. And it looks as though he could do that for the rest of the stint. You go on board with somebody who's got arms and elbows everywhere, it's much more tricky. Right then, the battle in GT4. Manopo in the 39 at the moment, leading. Second in the championship for the moment. But it does look as though the YZ Racing BMW is the one that's kind of a little bit in the way. The 38 Wakayama Supra is the championship leader, but Ochai, who's driving the car right now, missed around, and therefore he's not actually part of the championship fight. It's his teammate Tsuhiru who is part of the fight, and he is the silver driver They're all basically silver AMs, other than the Aston Martin at the tail of that field. But for the moment, we've got all the AMs in anyway. The curious thing is they are dropping Makino in the Sunrise Boulevard Porsche. Now, they were fourth in the championship, Makino and Fujiwara. So an outside bet for the championship. But for the moment, whilst these guys turn into turn 5, the Porsche only just leaving turn 4. So a big gap being created. Ebbing and flowing, isn't it? The BMW a few laps ago looked like it was being attacked. Now it looks like it's doing the attacking, doesn't it? Right onto the tail, right under the rear wing of the 39. So Monaco, second in the championship, 6 points back from the 38 car, which slides third. And with these slightly less powerful GT4 cars, it's interesting that it's a very different driving style to these versus the GT3s. Far less downforce. So far less reliance on aero. You are asking more mechanical grip. Oh, look in the mirror. There was going to be a move there, I think. Very slow out of turn 4. And yes, down the inside, the BMW goes. Fuji's got the move done, and it was a momentum thing. That was what I'm about to talk about in GT4. Because you're reliant upon the grip of the tyre rather than aero, and you haven't got as much power to rescue you when you make a mistake. It's all about momentum, and especially at that turn 4, if you get it wrong, then it's punishing you all the way up the main straight. So, third in the championship, YZ Racing, needing the points today, and they move themselves into the lead of GT4. Getting past Monopo. And that moves the BMW up a position as well in that championship fight. So the BMW now with 131 points to Monopo's 125 and Tsuruhiro's 128 if it stays as is. So suddenly from third to the lead of the championship for the BMWs. It does look as though he's slightly checking out. So has Monopo got an error, a problem here? He's about to lose another position by the looks of things. Ochai looks to the inside. Late dive down the inside there. Whoa, another big slide from the Toyota on the exit. So easy to overcook the tyres as well with this temperature. Has Monopo just asked a little bit too much? Should be used to the temperatures, but look how the other two are able to drive away from him. We'll have a look at the lap times next time by, but it does seem as though Monopo doing a 39.6, the other two doing 38.4s, that the pendulum has slightly swung now. It wouldn't wrap up the championship today, but it would change the face of it going into tomorrow. Back to the GT3 category. Battle for third overall. Second in GT3 AM, Uematsu and Sujiko. As it was with Yamawaka watching. And that's okay, because Yamawaka just needs some points. As long as he's got some points out of today, it prevents Team Machina and Uematsu from stopping them from winning the championship. So, no need to do any heroics. Nice and late on the brakes into turn one, wasn't he? Tsujiko closed quite heavily in the braking zone itself. Uematsu looking way more kind of chilled about it. Back to the GT4s, where Manopo is still in the 39s. Fuji's just on a 38.2. What is going on with that 39 Supra? Victory in 2 rounds this year. And race 2 in Sugo and race 1 in Fuji. Only once not on the podium. But now being hassled by the Aston Martin D station. Tetsuya Hoshino, the brother of the owner of D station. Their factory workshops just a stone's throw from Fuji. Came in last round in Suzuka into the GT4 category. They were, I seem to remember, entered as a GT3 for the early part of the season. Yes, they were. So they moved from the GT3 to the GT4 car. Nice to have that flexibility, isn't it? Well, today I'll take that one out, please. And so that's why they're not involved in the championship fight, but I don't know, there's something not quite right going on with the 39. Manopo will be happy to hand it over to his teammate to do the work, even if his teammate in the 39, Saita Nonaka, isn't part of the championship fight because he missed a round. He will happily do the work for his teammate. Uematsu, Shujiko, and Yamawaka. Then a 16-second gap down to Maezawa in 6th. Then the 2 Nissans, then the 2 GTC Porsches. 1.5 seconds the gap between our top 2. Just out to 1.7 now. Banksy still holding on ahead of Motoki. Now it starts to get a bit interesting because we get the GT3 cars coming through the GT4 pack, and this is an opportunity now when you're at a circuit where it's difficult to overtake. If one car gets compromised, it catches the GT4 car at the wrong moment, that can present an opportunity for another. So for instance there, Uematsu slightly catching that Cayman at the wrong moment. I'm sure the gaps will reduce a bit to the Comet Ferrari behind because they were able to keep their foot in, whereas Uematsu and the McLaren had to lift out of the throttle. They've cleared the Sunrise Porsche, who really is a decent way back, 16 seconds from the tail of this little battle here. Obviously things change. These are our AM drivers, and we've got Silver AM partnerships within our GT4 category, apart from the Aston Martin, which is a full AM lineup. And so the performance of these cars will change. Next car for Banksy to try and lap is that little battle between the Aston Martin and the GR, as we now ride on board with Yusaku Mizawa. Good job from Banksy, getting past the Aston, getting past the Toyota. Looks like he did that pretty efficiently. Now it'll be for Motoki to do the same. He's had that big long straight to do it, so that's been very easy for Bingo Racing to clear those two. And then a little bit further up the road then is the last last two cars. They've just got the GTC leader in there as well. One minute until our pit window opens. 90-second pit stops. And drivers getting ready, because of course with a Pro-Am or a Silver-Am entry, you want to get your Pro or Silver in as early as possible to maximise opportunity. And so only really the Am Aston Martin and Uematsu, who can come in at any time. They're the guys we won't see literally come in straight away. The rest of them I would expect to come straight in as soon as possible. So Minopo is dropped a good 7 or 8 seconds. And actually Fuji in the BMW has managed to catch and pass the slower of the two GTC cars, which is quite impressive. Now that's what I'm talking about, getting caught in traffic. That's awful news for Tsujiko, finding himself stuck behind the 39 GT4 car for 2-3 corners now. Now on the straight, he's got the grunt to easily overtake. Does it, easily peasily, but has lost a decent amount of ground to Uematsu. Where is Yamawaki? He hasn't cleared the Toyota either. Toyota well, I was about to say doing a good job of getting out the way, but actually coming into the pits. So change of driver there. Further ahead, others, Banksy and Motoki, both in the pits then. Uematsu inherits the lead of the race. Tsujiko carries on in the number 7 Ferrari, because that's an all AM lineup, so they've got flexibility as well. And great job from Banksy. Now the pros get in. Oh dear. What's happened there? He's missed his pit box by a country mile, Motoki, and that's going to cost him second position in this race for sure. So you have to be pushed back that far. It's not as though they're visitors to the pit lane. They do have pit garages, so they should know where to stop. Now, was that it's not a change of door, surely. They're very easy to pull off and pull on. Should be no reason as to why they pulled that door off. Pit stops timed to 90 seconds. So no panic about that door coming off. And actually, everyone looked very calm, didn't they? So out of the pits comes Kyoto Fujinami, followed by Shinji Takai in the Corvette. Those two well up the road of the rest. Got the 98 in, so Shinichi Takagi. And that is how much effort has been put in. A cold glass of icy water. The heat soak once you get out the cars must be absolutely dreadful, because you do have a bit of air flowing over you, but not when you then stop and sit in the garage. straight away. Yokomizo in that 555. Maezawa Racing Ferrari. Body language changes on that car, and it's attack mode. He's got the newer Ferrari just ahead of him, of our champions-elect, Takagi, in the K-Tunes 98 car. Could well be passed, there's no need to fight it. GT4 pit stops happening, although Fuji staying out. Waiting for Masaki Kano to pit this lap, so one extra lap for the BMW over the Toyotas and the Porsches. And is that, I think, therefore, nearly our last pit stop. 2 more to go. Uematsu, say, can do it any time. Just needs to get out of the car when he's in the pits and then get back in. No penalty, no time penalty is felt necessary for having a single driver, even though that driver has the experience of the car. Doesn't take that much time to build up to it. Tyre change for the 82, and there is Banksy now with the sunglasses. Thumbs up to our camera. So Fujinami has a 5.7 second advantage over Takai in the Corvette. Takagi and Yokomizo are 19 seconds back. Uematsu is our virtual leader at the moment, but does still owe us a pit stop. He's still got 4 minutes to do it, so a couple of laps to come in. Where's the number 7 gone? Sure, we were waiting for the number 7 there. Must have come into the pits. Yes, it did. So Comet Racing bringing their Ferrari in. And therefore, over the line, over the stripe, comes the 98 and the 555. As the number 5 now has been serviced. And they wait for their elapsed time. And we'll be a chance to see how the GT4s stack up post pit stop. Chance to see what happens inside that pit stop, inside the car. Of course, the belts so tight to the body, it's hard for a driver to do them up himself, with all the rest of the bits going on and with the gloves on, so the mechanic is there to help. Still, Uematsu stays out. And this will promote Fujinami back up to second. But the gap to Takai staying about the same, 5.7 seconds. But lots and lots of green on the timing screens now as everyone starts to improve their lap times. In comes the final car, Uematsu, to make a pit stop, and then we can focus on the second half of the race. Change of tyres. Driver gets in, puts his feet on the floor, and gets back in to the car again. Reminder, no teammate for Tadao Uematsu, as he's done all season. He's on course to win the AM title. Not too many GT3 AMs. Sorry, 7 GT3 AMs, as we said earlier, wasn't it? But not too many doing the full season. But not only has he done the full season, he's done the full season on his own. So, pretty decent cred. That'll be the worst moment for him, though, with the car stationary He'll want to get going again to get that airflow through to try and cool down. Yeah. Set some 11s in the pit lane. Now, there goes the leader. Here's Bingo Corvette. That's going to go through as well into second position. Matsu was in a fight, wasn't he, with the 7 and the 98, but he's come out well ahead of the 7. There's the 7 now, Comet Racing Ferrari. There's the 98 and there's the 555. So big, kind of relatively large gaps between them all now. With the remaining 26 minutes of this penultimate race of the year. Confirmation that next year the Suzuka 1,000 kilometers returns to the international stage. It's a round also of the Japan Cup. So an opportunity for the Japan Cup teams to participate against the world's very best at Suzuka on the second week of September. It will be the last round of the Japan Cup as well. Other than that, the calendar pretty similar to what we saw this year, with Sugo in the middle of June, Fuji the middle of July, and Okayama the middle of August. And if it's anything like this year, it will be getting and growing from strength to strength. There's no doubt that this Japan Cup sets the benchmark nationally now as the GT place to race. It's been very, very well behaved today in both of our races. Yamasaki, the gaps over the last couple of laps, but doesn't really make a lot of sense with the pit stop in the middle. Let's run through the order then. Fujinami in the 666, taking over from Banksy, has a 7.2 second advantage over Bingo Racing Corvette, and now with Shinji Takai aboard. 8.8 back is Uematsu, and then 3.6 back is Yamasaki in the Comet Racing Ferrari, that sort of pearl white car. Behind them, Takagi in the K-Tunes Ferrari, and as you can see on screen, just about a second separating the two of them right now. And then in the 555, the Maezawa Racing Ferrari, the older spec 488, 3.7 seconds further back from these two. Then you've got Oyagi in the Nissan 81, now ahead of the 360 Nissan. So that's a change of position, with run up losing a spot to Team Daishan. Oh, is that a move? Is that a move? Yes, it is, down the inside. Takagi makes the move stick. Always very good at being nice and clean about it. And Yamasaki doesn't want to let that Ferrari disappear, does he? Seems to be right on him. Different classes, of course. Yamasaki being an AM driver, Takagi being a pro. But that is the next target for Takagi. How quickly you can get up to speed is a big thing as well. Those in and out, well, there's out laps particularly. Getting out and getting fast, much easier thing for a pro to do than for the AMs to do. As we're going through the order, GT4 then, BMW still leads that by just 1.7 seconds over Nonaka in the 39 Toyota. So 39 back ahead of 38 then. And there's 3 seconds between the 39 and the 38, both of which Toyota Supras. The 39 run by Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia, the 38 run by Okayama. But you can definitely rule out the Porsche today. They are the tail of the field now. Fujiwara now aboard that car, but they are last, I'm afraid. Ooh, 555 with a penalty for crossing pit entry blend line. So as you come out of the pits, here it would be on your left-hand side. There's a white line that allows you to blend with the racetrack, and if you do not follow it and you cross it, you get a penalty. It's a really easy one. And it looks as though Yokomizu has done just that. It'd be a silly lapse of judgment, lapse of concentration perhaps. But a 5-second penalty drops Yokomizu down. Well, actually doesn't lose a position because next car behind is 20 seconds back. So it doesn't really affect him too much. Right then. Uematsu's been hunted down. These are the two for the championship, but really it's already in the hands of K-Tunes. And Uematsu won't care as a AM driver that he's being passed by a pro. It brings Takagi up onto the overall podium. He'll have some work, I tell you, to go and catch the last two. They are 18 seconds up the road of this lot at the moment. Takai, and then Fujinami in the triple sets. Also, just change of position. Yokomizu has got past Yamasaki. Oh, and then we've got the Aston Martin in the gravel trap. That's going to change things. Kenji Hammer now aboard D-Station's Aston Martin GT4 and off between turn 10 and 11. It's localized yellow covering at the moment, so Takagi could still try and make a move here if he wanted to, but there's also GT4 cars in the way, so he's going to have to be very careful. He's being drawn into the yellow flag zone. They were preparing something on that marshal's post, which presumably is now come out. There should be another marshal's post there, I would have thought. But the Aston Martin is on the outside of there, just on the right-hand side there. And I'm sure that that was a pass under yellow flags. Preparing for full course yellow. Full course yellow means no overtaking, down to 80 kilometers an hour. And there we go, Bing. A little bit unaware there was the Toyota of Wakayama, nearly whacked into the back of the K-Tunes Ferrari there. Trying to catch his breath is Banksy. The other thing that in these kind of conditions really affects you is sweat coming off your forehead, dripping into your eyes and then making them sting like anything. And that can be a really big thing, because you don't have, especially with the visor, you don't have the airflow to clear the sweat away. So if we go too long on the full course yellow, then we do need a safety car to bring tyres back up to temperature and get the cars racing again. The positive is it's a safe way of going racing, because everything goes back up to racing temperatures before going racing. The negative is you put everybody on the same bit of track again. Great for us, for entertainment, not necessarily for for those that are trying to be adverse to danger. Either way, we've seen the guys be very efficient around this circuit with their little snatch diggers. And look at that little thing, brilliant. Towing the Aston Martin to out of harm's way. and race control saying short full course yellow, which basically means we won't go to safety car. We don't need to go to safety car. So the gaps can stay as they are. Fujinami with that big gap, as you can see, to Corvette and Bingo Racing's Shinji Takai. And then another big gap to Uematsu, but Uematsu was about to be passed by Takagi, wasn't he? Yokomizu had just got past Yamasaki, so the 555 and the number 7, that had changed hands just before we went to full course yellow. And no change in GT4, with the 50 ahead of the 39 and then the 38. Green flag, let's go racing once again. This is where you've got to be really careful. Oh, and Uematsu's been a bit too careful there. Slow releasing the full course yellow button. They're side by side. Down towards Atwood. And Uematsu caught napping. Takagi and team presumably very aware of what was going on there. Countdown into the driver's ear so he could press the button and go. Uematsu though didn't go. Out of nowhere, this car has suddenly appeared. Where on earth has Yokomizu come from? He's got a 5-second penalty for crossing that white line, but from the bodywork, from the body language of the driver here, he is absolutely on one. Boy, fighting the car, letting it dance. That's quite spectacular. I don't know what taking the bull by the horns equivalent would be with the prancing horse. It'd be taking the horse by the tail? I don't know. By the mane? Either way, whatever it is, that's what Yokomizu is doing right now. Up ahead, Uematsu in the McLaren. Not scoring points, by the way, the 555 and the 666. They're guest entries, so they can stand on the podium, but they won't take points away in any championship fight. Not that it really matters in GT3 because it's kind of sorted, deal done. Takagi and Yamawaki are our champions as long as they finish this race. Forget that Uematsu is an AM driver, Yokomizu is the pro. Oh, number 7 and number 47. Number 7's been penalised for punting 47 into the gravel. It's not something we saw, but the number 7 is a Comet Racing Ferrari, sitting in 6th position right now. And clearly a misjudged traffic pass. Yokomizu up ahead now of Uematsu. Got to be getting tired, surely. We've only got 12 minutes remaining. Uematsu's fading here. Next one to try and make a pass would be the number 7, but he's got to go into the pits to do a stop and go, so it's probably as far down the order as Uematsu's going to drop. Let's focus our attention now on the GT4s once again. Nonaka in the 39, up ahead of Sehiro in the 38. I wonder what was going on with Manopo in the second part of that first stint, because he just, from leading, disappeared. But now it does look as though that car's back up to speed again. And all is okay. So Kano leads. That gives them 131 points. Nonaka in second gives him 125. And then third for the 38, 128. So that would be 3 points and 3 points. 6 points separating the top three going into tomorrow. It would also eliminate Makino and Fujiwara, but they're kind of not really showing their hand today. 30 seconds off that leading battle in GT4. And what a chilled afternoon it's been for the 666. Good effort from Banksy in those early laps just to take the edge off everybody else. And now Fujinami having a nice chilled cruise. Nobody around, 7.7 seconds to the good of Bingo Racing. 16.6 ahead of Takagi. I wonder if this would be equally that car's worst finish. Yeah, it would be. Takagi, although actually, no, because you can't count the 666. So it would be a second position effectively for the 98. But if you did take consideration the 66, then the 98 has never come less than second all year long. Sounds so good. Sorry, I keep stopping, but it just sounds so good. So Yokomizu now 5.3 seconds back from Takagi. Takagi 7 seconds back from Takai, but lapping about a second faster than the guys at the head of the field. So it's another 7 laps, not going to happen with only 9.5 minutes remaining. So that is pretty much set, isn't it? Yokomizu needs to establish a 5 second advantage over Uematsu. Remember, he's got that small penalty for crossing the white line. And if Yokomitsu is less than 5 seconds ahead of Uematsu, then that will be a change of position. Drive-through penalty for car 81 and for car number 7. Yamasaki in the Comet Racing Ferrari. Just served it actually. A little bit slow on the data on the screen because he's already been in and gone out now. We haven't seen the 81 yet. Oyagi. There is the number 7, so it's all been done. Drive-through penalty, done. Tick that box. Does give him an incentive to chase down by only 10 seconds the Nissan ahead, the 81. Great to have them back with us. Team Daishan with GT Net, they were with us in Fuji. Oh, and look how close it is for GT4 honours. Wakayama versus Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia. Nonaka versus Surihiro. Nonaka isn't the one that will be fighting for the championship. The car is, on behalf of his teammate, but he is not, having missed that race in Fuji. But that was very tight. That was very close between them. Every point matters now, that's for sure, in this championship. And I love the fact that we've only got, well, half a dozen GT4 cars, but they're just always locked together, always having a fight. Meanwhile, up the road is the BMW by 5 seconds. Toyota recently announcing that they're going to make an updated package of this Supra. There'll be an Evo version. Continually putting support into the GT4 category in a way that we don't really see in GT3 from them. Lots of presence around the motorsport scene, whether it be the WEC, whether it be their Dakar program or their World Rally Car program. And really, really cool to see that they've got themselves into our GT racing program as well with this GT4 car. And it does seem to work for them. It's a popular car. It's quite different to some of the others. It has to be really quite high. You always see they've got a really high ride height in comparison to, say, a McLaren or not a Ferrari, because they don't have a GT4 car, but a Porsche. There's real daylight underneath that car, and that is not a choice from the team, but more regulation from balance performance. Does mean that a track with curbs, you can smash over them. Oh, it's so close now. Good run from Surihiro through Revolver. Again, really tucked up, almost touching the rear bumper, and some big defensive work now going in from Nanaka. Hogs that inside line on the left, then lets the car run out to the right so we can hug the apex here as well. But there is a quarter of a car's width between the two of them, and lots of moving around in the mirrors from Nanaka. Surihiro. Again, got to get the exit good here. Got to get the run out of that final turn. Try and pick up a bit of a slipstream. He's not really doing so, is he? Wonder also whether by following so closely is getting a little bit of overheating. Able to hold a tighter line through turn one though. There's the 98. Taking a big chunk. There must have been a mistake from Takai on the last lap. He did a 31.8 as opposed to a 29.8 from Takagi. So 2 seconds lopped off just like that. And suddenly it looks as though perhaps Takagi will get himself up to second position after all, with 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. He must just love this. He must just love going fast. Meanwhile, continuing the battle in GT4, Suehiro ahead of Nanaka. Nanaka really sitting in the middle of the road, defending hard here. No thoughts of chasing down the BMW any longer. Have they got anyone coming up behind them? Not of any significance, really. You don't have to worry about GT3 traffic for the moment. 2 minutes and 50 seconds remaining. The teams will be on the radio. It's now or never, and every point counts at the moment. 38 is ahead of 39 by 6 points coming into this round, but that can be reversed with that result. Here's the change for second position then. Takai with a really good opening stint from Motoki. But Takagi is just the strongest man in this field. He's just been chipping away lap after lap. And it's only now a matter of time. It's just as to where he does it. Takai's really struggling with the pace of that car. Another 1:31.6. So maybe he's just asked too much of those Pirelli tyres across the stint. That's a nice run from the K-Tunes Ferrari. Surely coming down this main straight is going to make the move now. Be careful of the Porsche that's going to be potentially in the way. Big defensive work from the Bingo Racing Corvette. Ferrari tries to go around the outside. There is just enough space. Lovely work from Takagi. Muscles his way into the apex of the next turn and into second spot. Oh, now that looked like a little bit of tyre rub from the Ferrari there. I wonder if there was a bit of contact. No change in GT4. They come over the line with 1 minute remaining. Now, where is our leader? Just behind them, actually. So now we go on to the final lap. And I don't think that these two Supras are going to get another lap, because by the time we finish this one, I reckon the leader's going to be past them, unless he starts to back off. Fujinami there, right in the background. And I think he could get past them before we get to the flag. So one last opportunity, one last lap for Tsuruhiro to snatch a couple of more points for his championship fight. At the moment, 128 he walks away with. He'd much prefer 131. It would equal that of the BMW. But here comes Fujinami. Oh God, he's really getting caught up in this. I mean, it's lucky he's built up a nice gap, because he's absolutely boxed in by two GT4s. Now he's got the power on the exit of the corner, but it might have scuppered Tsuruhiro's plans to get up to second, because Tsuruhiro has a big old gap between the two of them. That's it then, just a couple of corners to go. The BMW is going to get itself an extra lap here in GT4. But for the battle for second position, it is now going to be set, because Fujinami in the 666 7-7 with KFM is your winner of the penultimate round of Japan Cup here in Okayama. A strong drive from both teammates, and that is going to end up with a nice, healthy advantage of around 10 seconds over our champions, K-Tunes Racing. In their Ferrari 296 are Japan Cup champions for 2024. Banksy's happy with that, and as well he should be. Now, what about Uematsu? 136 plays 120 in the AM standings, and he's going to lose some. He's going to lose some points, doesn't he, to Comet Racing, because Comet Racing come over as the GT3 AM winners. Uematsu second in GT AM. So just like we saw in Suzuka, points are starting to be chipped away. But realistically, if it's another 1-2 tomorrow, Uematsu still wins the AM category. Uematsu needs to, well, the Comet Racing team need to find some way of relegating Uematsu down to third rather than second. Oh no, sorry, I'm confused, aren't I? Uematsu is going to pick up a win in that category, and Comet Racing, with that penalty, are going to be fourth in category. That's the worst position that Comet Racing have had all year in the AM Cup. And I wonder whether that's enough for Uematsu to wrap up the AM Championship 2. And I'm glad that we are in agreement with the media centre on that one. Eventually. Transmission whine. Just, it's very evocative a racing car's transmission whine. Once you've been in a racing car, once you've driven one of these cars, that is the noise that sticks with you. The shuddering of the transmission. Always nice to welcome new faces to a championship. Even better when they can perform at this kind of level and take victory. Fujinami's happy. Fujinami is really happy. This obviously means a lot to the KFM team. Tears in the eyes, by the sounds of things, of Kyoto. And to be a different challenge tomorrow when Takagi is out there at the start of the race. But there are your champions, Yamawaki and Takagi, Japan Cup champions for 2024, with 4 wins to their name across the championship. They can still win a 5th tomorrow. No one else was close to equal to them, especially that man. He was the fastest man in qualifying of any GT3 car here today. Let's go down to Amy with our winners.
And here with the winners of this weekend Saturday race. バクシー選手、おめでとうございます。初参戦でも完璧な仕事でした。おめでとうございます。
はい、ビギナーズラックで、後ろもポルシェの本木さんだし、京都の武井さんに追われてたんで、なんか本当ポルシェカップのいつもの大変な時を思い出して、でもね、ちょっと彼は今年 GT あるからね、ポルシェに乗り換えて、ちょっと苦労してたんで、今号泣しちゃってます。でも彼が僕を早くしたの彼なんで、彼の勝利。
あら、バンクシーさんも。
そうだ、泣くから。
So as you can see.
はい。
たっぷりでお祝いしてください。As you can see that he is very, very emotional right now. It's Fujinami's first win this season after changing from GTR to Porsche, and he's very happy for that. He said it was beginner's luck, but I don't think so. But you can see they're very, very happy. 藤波選手、今シーズン初優勝おめでとうございます。
ありがとうございます。いや、めちゃくちゃ嬉しい、本当に。いや、本当いろいろあったんでね。で、そこからね、今年バンクシーさんに救ってもらって。急遽ね、これのシリーズやるって決まって、本当にね、スタッフのみんなも頑張ってくれて、いろんな思いでね、今回ここに来たんで、本当ね、バンクシーさん早くなって、本当嬉しいです、本当に。もう助けられてます、本当に。
速い車を手に入れたのも、優秀なメーカーさんを用意したのも全部彼なんで。
いや、もう改めてね、お二人でお祝いしちゃってください。はい、おめでとうございました。
どうもありがとうございます。
So as you can see, he's very happy about this win. And let's walk over to the champions.
Incredible emotions from Fujinami, who spent 13 years a Nissan Works driver.
You're out. Yeah. はい。今シーズンのですね、2024シーズンジャパンカップのチャンピオン、残りね、最終戦を残してチャンピオン輝きました。もう涙が見えてます。今の汗だった。はい、今のお気持ちを教えていただけますか。
やっぱチャンピオン取るってすごい嬉しいです。高木さんとチャンピオン取るのが2回目なので、すごくなんかまた気持ちが嬉しい気持ちがすごいです。はい。
もう最高のパッケージで今シーズンのチャンピオンに輝きました。So he's very happy because it's the second time they have they won the championship together. So it's very special for him. He said it wasn't tears, it was sweat, but I guess he's very emotional about it too. 高木選手、もうプロ根性もうぶちまけまくって、はい、猛烈な追い上げでした。
そうですね。最後なんで目いっぱい行ってみようかなと思って、追い上げるレースの方が僕もモチベーション上がるしね。何より本当に K チューンズのね、3台、それ、1台減ったんで、なんとかチャンピオン取りたかったです。
改めておめでとうございました。 Okay, I'm getting emotional too. So the last year's was about because there was one car, the Lexus couldn't drive this race, so he's a little bit emotional about it, but still very happy about this championship. And yeah, he pushed so hard today, and very, very happy. He thought it was the last chance, and he got it, and yeah, very happy about it.
And we know it's very hot down there, but there does seem to be a lot of sweat coming out of people's eyes, including, by the sounds of things, Amy's. That's what it means to all these guys that put their hearts and souls into their weekends of racing, lay it all on the line, and once they can breathe a sigh of relief, the emotion comes in. The winners of GT4, the BMW. What a performance to get them back into the championship fight.
さあ GT4 のですね、ワイズレーシング藤井選手、もう熱いレースでした。
はい。
おめでとうございます。
ありがとうございます。もう今日優勝しかなかったので、もうとにかく前だけ向いて、はい、頑張って走りました。
So the only thing he had in mind was winning this race. So he's very happy. He pushed his heart out, and yeah, he's very happy about this win. 加野選手、ね、今シーズンまだチャンピオンシップ明日に持ち越しになってはいますが、
一緒じゃないですか。
一緒ですね。でも今のお気持ちお聞かせいただけますか。
いやとりあえずホッとしてます。今日ねとりあえず勝たないともう権利がないので、なのでとりあえず明日にまでチャンピオンシップが戦えることなので、明日も頑張ってここでインタビューもらえるように頑張ります。はい。
改めておめでとうございました。So he knew that if they don't get this win, it's going to be quite tight for the championship tomorrow. So he's very happy that they got it today, and very much looking forward to be crowned champion tomorrow here. He keeps on his faith until tomorrow. Back to you.
Oh yeah. Well, what they've done is they made it tighter actually, because it's now even tighter than it was after the start of today's race. Between three teams, we've now eliminated the Porsche, I'm afraid, from that GT4 fight. But we continue to have the BMW and the two Toyotas as part of it. Here is the provisional result then. 7-7 with KFM, Banksy and Fujinami with the victory. 10 seconds ahead of K-Team Racing's Ferrari that take the championship here, Takagi and Yamawaki. Bingo Racing's Corvette in third position, and then Maezawa Racing, the third of the Pro-Am category cars, with Mr. Maezawa himself. Uematsu second in AM, third in AM, the Oyagi brothers in the team Daishan G-Net. And the penalty for the number 7 has seemingly cost them the AM title. They finish in 7th position. In GT4, it was the BMW ahead of the 39 Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia Supra, then the 38, which was just behind them. And actually, so just behind them, there was a 10th of a second. The highlights of Japan Cup Race 1 then. Championships on the line, and a very good start from our guest car, driven by Banksy. A nice clean start. Banksy followed by Motoki in the Corvette, and then Uematsu, who was slow to get going in his McLaren. GT4, suddenly Manopo just dropped from the lead of the race. The pace a second slower per lap. The BMW came past, but it wasn't long before the other Toyota Supra came past and dropped that 39 car from first down to third position. Always tricky with traffic, especially around this tight Okayama circuit, but Banksy did a really good job of clearing everybody. Then the pit stops began. Change of tyres, change of drivers. Get out with your pro drivers for the second half of the race. A big mistake around about now. Okay, no, don't see it there, but Yamasaki getting a penalty. And that penalty costing him the AM title. A nice battle with Takagi as he came through from 5th up to 2nd position. This was the last of the moves on the Bingo Racing Corvette. A really cool pro move, this one. All the way around the outside of 5, down the inside of 6. Make the move up into 2nd overall. But through it all, Fujinami had a lovely, easy second half of the race, and he took victory 10 seconds ahead of the champions for 2024 in the Ferrari K-Tunes Racing Takagi. Banksy the victor, but Takagi taking the spoils. So now for the podiums. And for the overall podium then, Motoki and Shinji Takai for Bingo Racing. K-Tunes, Takagi and Yamawaki. And the winners, Banksy and Fujinami. Once again, trophies presented by the Pirelli manager for GT World Challenge Asia and Japan Cup, Matteo Braga. And they do still have one more race tomorrow, don't forget. Japan Cup concludes its season with the pros starting the race tomorrow. And that will be kickoff time 1:20 local time, with the second race for Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia starting at 10 o'clock local time. Those are our 2 programmed sessions for tomorrow, potentially in the rain, certainly in some cooler and wetter conditions than we have this evening. Another beautiful evening here in Okayama. A circuit built specifically for supercars and for gentleman drivers. That was the reason why in the early 90s 2 or 3 racetracks here in Japan were built, and Okayama was the one that won the attention of the world thanks to the Formula One Grand Prix, Pacific Grand Prix it was called. And it's great to be a staple of this Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia powered by AWS. Well done to our overall podium. We'll be seeing a couple of the teams once again for the next podiums. It's been a lovely day. It really has here in Okayama. We'll see you tomorrow for the second and final race of Japan Cup. There is the championship confirmation that there is more than 25 points between Yamawaki, Takagi and Uematsu, and therefore the championship cannot be reversed tomorrow, and Yamawaki and Takagi are the champions for 2024 as they were for 2023. But the difference this year, standalone races that will only get more and more competitive, and that performance this morning from Takagi was particularly impressive, being the fastest man in qualifying across all 4 sessions. There's the GT4 Championship, and look at that, 3 points between BMW and Wakayama, and another 3 between Wakayama and Toyota Gazoo Racing, all to play for tomorrow. Make sure you join us at lunchtime here from Okayama. Until then, have a good evening. Bye-bye. And so now for the GT3 AM podium. And on there we have the 81 Daishin GT-Net Nissan. Third position for them. Second position for Uematsu in the McLaren. And a win for Takai. It hasn't been like that for Bingo Racing this year. Since they moved to AM, the success has been short supply. But we do think that in GT3 AM, that's a good enough performance from the McLaren to win the championship today and seal it off from the number 7 Comet Racing, finishing 4th here. Of course, Bingo Racing getting disqualified last time out in Suzuka because they were not able to take their drive-through penalty. They retired from the first race, so that was a really horrible way to finish their season, although because they missed the first 2 races as they were a Pro-Am category car, it's always going to be difficult to compete. Haven't seen actually how Tadao Uematsu looks. There he is. He's got enough energy to spray the champagne. It's not completely knackered, but I tell you what, that would have been some work today. You want the steering heavy to be able to feel the bumps and feel the car and feel what it does, but it makes it harder to drive, makes it hotter to drive. A little bit of rain. It's not the direction that I can see out my window, but it does look as though there might be storms approaching. Thankfully, the tornado holding off until after the weekend for this particular race meeting anyway. We do hope that it veers course and doesn't make landfall at all. But we are expecting what looks to be thundery showers tomorrow. So GT4 Silver Ram. Wakayama Toyota with Hojust Racing. Ochai and Suehiro. And then the Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia squad of Harry Manopo and Saita Nonaka. And the winners of the GT4 category, the BMW squad of Yuki Fuji and Masaki Kano. Teo Braga handing out the trophies once more. All to play for tomorrow. Oh Lord, those guys will need to concentrate, get a good night's sleep. 3 points separate each of them at the top of the standings. It really could go any way. The question will be, what happened to Manopo's pace at the end of his stint? Why did it drop off so dramatically, because he really was leading the race quite happily in GT4, and then maybe just got put off or overheated the tyres, but in a couple of laps he just couldn't get the pace that he was in the early part of the race, and that was kind of it. It's a little bit of running away going on the podium here. He obviously got a second set of overalls. Some very clever trucks in the paddock here. When you do your flyaway events, you tend to see just containers, but with the local teams, with the Japanese teams, you now get to see their trucks and their air conditioning solutions, whereby the roof of the truck completely lifts up to allow the hot air out, is quite remarkable. Not something that you really need in Europe, but clearly over here with this heat, you do. Happy faces all round for GT4 Silverram. I'm not quite sure if we're going to do a separate podium for GT4 AM, as there is only one driver and he had to be fished out the gravel. But there are the points then, once again. BMW 131, Toyota Supra 128 and 125. And Sunrise Boulevard Porsche now too far behind to be part of the championship fight tomorrow. Oh, there is one more. GT4 AM then for D Station. We should bring up the driver of their little tractor, because he played a part in their finishing of the race. If it wasn't for them, they'd still be digging themselves out of a sandpit now around turn 10. Five laps down in the end, thanks to that impolite help into the gravel. It wasn't, was it the number 7 who made contact? I think it was. There we go then, D Station from GT3 down to GT4. The good thing was they were part of the little fight as well, weren't they? It wasn't like they were tugging around the back. They were able to fight with the 39 at the end of that first stint. Very politely sprayed. Lots of different entries into the GT4 AM category across the season. SRO Motorsport entering 2 rounds, and that's why Toyota leads the championship by 86 points. But D Station are the only people here this weekend, so they'll take full points tomorrow, and then they'll win the GT4 AM Cup. Toyota getting 2 wins and 2 seconds in the first 2 rounds before they moved into a different category. Oh, we've got another one. Ah, the GTC category. So this is now where we find the ABSA team. In GTC. Now I think that they are ineligible to score championship points in this weekend. Well, that does not stop them from standing on the podium. They've run the Ferrari Challenge car, and they ran a 991 at the last round, and now at this round as well. We've also had the Gamma 83 team with us since round 2 in their GTC car, which is effectively an older spec Porsche GT3, the 991 category. One last champagne spray for the evening then, as the sun sets over the mountains here at the Okayama circuit. It's been a wonderful day's worth of action, a busy day's worth of action for everybody involved. On Japan Cup, lunchtime on Sunday for their conclusion to their championship. And we look forward to concluding the GT4 to find out who can take victory in GT4. That'll be the main story tomorrow from the Japan Cup. Great to see a new winner, great to see new cars and new faces. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you at lunchtime tomorrow for the final race. Bye-bye for now.